The sinews of government deficits, the health of a nation, and the well being of its citizens by Anwar J. Flores. This video is a bit long, but I trust that you will find it extremely interesting. It presents my personal opinions on the subject. However, it also aims to stimulate discussion of the pros and cons of the principles of modern monetary theory, MMT, in the context of a government with monetary sovereignty. It aims to make a case for its applicability to Belize as an issue of currency with significant monetary sovereignty. It aims to emphasize that a budgetary deficit is not an immediate cause for concern. It aims to also create the awareness that other important deficits exist in a country and recognize them as critical to the success or failure of a nation and the happiness of its people. It aims to create the awareness that one person's spending is another's income. It aims to also emphasize that a government spending represents money in the hands of the people. And of course, nothing can be bad about this. It simply completes the concept of double entry bookkeeping. Of course, it aims to make the clear distinction between an issuer of currency and a user of currency, a government with monetary sovereignty and a household or business. It aims to dismiss the practice of treating taxation as revenue to offset government spending or bridging the deficit gap. It aims to create the awareness that money was introduced into circulation before taxation. This is an important concept. Therefore, taxation should not be considered revenue, but a tool to control inflation. Of course, this video hopes to sway perception, if even only a little, on the way governments view and interpret their budgetary deficit. It hopes to broaden the understanding of what budgetary deficit truly represents and bring about a paradigm shift in hegemonic monetary and fiscal policy as practiced in Belize. Before we delve deeper into the subject, I must draw to your attention the concept of common sense, a sixth sense. Common sense is said to be a sixth sense, a sense we depend on to draw on the beliefs, experiences, and norms that are embedded in our being, embedded in our five senses. It's usually a conclusion that we draw with absolute certainty. Hence, it is referred to as common sense. Everybody should know this. Of course, this is the farthest thing from the truth, but it is so difficult to penetrate with any new idea or suggestion. You see, we use filters to process data. We take certain things for granted when we encounter new data. We simply accept or reject the new data based on whether it contradicts or coincides with what we think we already know, our common sense. Many times, we rely on our common sense even when we are disadvantaged by it. This is how powerful it is, but it doesn't mean it is correct. It is therefore critical and important to extract from common sense what is good sense. These beliefs and norms are so strong that people use them to conclude that they know exactly how certain things work, how government finances operate, how things should be done, and what rules to follow. But never ask the question, who made the rules? Where did they come from? Is there a better way? Any suggestion that challenges this status quo is looked upon with significant doubt and uncertainty, even to the point of dismissing critical thinking. The reality is, change is never easy. Therefore, I urge you to listen to what I have to say with an open mind. I would like to share with you the concept of modern monetary theory as a thought-provoking theory that may pique your interest. Can you imagine what it could mean for a country's development if their government would only change their perspective on its annual financial budgetary deficit? Looking at the economy from a different perspective can have a huge impact on a country's development, but we continue to limit our imagination. We continue to be guided by what I refer to as common sense, and this has inhibited our growth. We have been too restrictive, fearing imbalances in revenue and spending. We need to reshape the narrative around government fiscal deficits. After all, these are just numbers in an accounting journal. These numbers do not represent the people. However, they influence the decisions government makes, resulting in the suffering of the people and the economy. These decisions should be a part of a balancing act regarding the well-being of the people. The key to managing a fiscal deficit is to strategically increase the deficit to a point where it has a positive impact on the people and the economy while controlling inflation. According to MMT economists, a deficit is just a deficit unless it causes inflation. We must open our minds and understand the benefits of an MMT strategy and unravel the true meaning of public deficits and why financial budgetary deficits should not be an immediate cause for concern. This paradigm shift emphasizes that a financial budgetary deficit means a surplus in the hands of the people. Treating domestic spending as a tax burden on the people is the wrong approach. Many governments continue to pursue this. Government finances, particularly in the case of governments with monetary sovereignty, should not be constrained by tax revenues. At the heart of MMT is the recognition that the historical origin of money in circulation lies in the issuance of fiat currency by governments for public use before taxes were collected. This is an important concept. Let it sink in. This historical perspective changes the traditional assumption that taxes are the primary means of financing government spending. Taxes are a means, not a source of income. The issuance of money in circulation preceded taxation. That's very important. It is customary for governments to tax and or borrow before spending. Therefore, governments see a financial budgetary deficit as a reason to impose more burdensome taxes to cover the shortfall or cut back on much needed spending, when in fact, a deficit is the result of strategic spending on infrastructure, healthcare, and education contributes to the people's well-being. Here is the kicker. Lack of healthcare, lack of infrastructure, and lack of education are also deficits, and these are equally important. Therefore, giving all the attention to a financial deficit without recognizing these equally important deficits is where governments have been going wrong. Some governments are issuers of currency, while household, businesses, and the people are users of currency. This is an important distinction. This makes the government, as issuer of currency, less subject to fiscal constraints. This is a breakthrough influencing how deficits should be viewed, understood, and interpreted. As a currency issuer, there is no shortage of currency. However, this does not mean that the government can spend recklessly. If deficits can be managed effectively, broader economic objectives can be achieved. Establishing a job guarantee program where government acts as employer of last resort can help stabilize the economy and maximize the country's economic potential. Government's financing of such an initiative will no doubt grow the deficit, but full employment contributes to social stability and gives meaning and dignity to all citizens. People feel valued and reduce the economic and social inequalities created by widespread unemployment. Imagine a job for every Belizean. This brings purchasing power to the community, creating a positive domino effect throughout the economy. When individuals earn, spend, and invest, they generate economic activity that supports small businesses and contributes to the overall prosperity. Remember that a government fiscal deficit means a surplus in the hands of the people. MMT recognizes that inflation is a legitimate concern, but argues that inflation can be controlled through targeted strategic spending, taxation, and other fiscal measures. A budget deficit allows governments to prioritize investments in critical areas such as healthcare, education, and social infrastructure. In summary, governments' budget deficits should not be an immediate cause for concern if used for strategic purposes. Serious consideration, time, and effort should be given to understand the benefits of adopting modern monetary theory. This requires a careful balance between increased government spending and the overall health of the economy. Can Belize benefit from adopting this theory?